The health benefits of regular exercise and physical activity are hard to ignore. Everyone benefits from exercise, no matter their age, sex, or physical ability. Just moving tonight on Call with the Prairie Doc.
Welcome to On Call with the Prairie Doc. Health information based on science, built on trust. I'm your Prairie Doc host, Dr. Jill Kruse, and tonight we will be doing some things a little differently. One of the most important things you can do for your health is to keep moving. So tonight, Prairie Doc spoke with individuals about different types of ways to keep moving and how any of these exercises can be done at any age or level that you are comfortable with. As always, when starting a new exercise program, make sure to talk with your health professional so you can keep moving in a safe and healthy way. Let's get started. In our first segment, Prairie Doc spoke with a local physical therapist, Chuck McCullough, about running and walking. Running and walking are both excellent forms of exercise that can help maintain cardiovascular health, muscle strength, and flexibility. Regular running and walking can also help prevent or manage chronic conditions such as heart disease, diabetes, and osteoarthritis. These forms of exercise can also help improve balance and coordination, reducing the risk of falls and injuries in older adults. Engaging in these activities regularly can also help improve mood and mental health, reducing the risk for depression and anxiety. Both running and walking can be enjoyable social activities, promoting connections with others and provide a sense of community and support. Listen in as Chuck helps us better understand the science behind the correct way to feel confident running or walking.
So honestly, one very big myth is that running is bad for you. Honestly, running can be very good for you as you get older. Now, running doesn't inherently mean you're going to have bad knees or get yourself injured. If you look at the research, it doesn't say necessarily that running causes knee problems. What happens is things like excessive weight can cause knee pain or knee injury or damage. So as you get older, you do need to make some changes in your running form and technique versus maybe when you're 18. And so starting in your 50s, you really want to take a look at how you run and how your training is set up. Posture is crucial for everything. I don't care if you're an office worker or a runner. I'm going to want you to be upright, shoulders, avoid that rounded shoulders. Don't be bent over. Stand up nice and straight. So if you're running and you're rounded like this, you're going to spend more energy with your arms. It's harder to pump your arms. If you bring yourself upright, it just brings you into a nice alignment and that pelvis is forward. One of the hardest things when you run is if your hips go back, you stick your butt out. That's going to cause back problems. You're going to waste some energy. I'm not talking about leaning at the tape. I'm talking about as you're running kilometer 2, 3, 4. But if you just keep yourself upright, shoulders there as you go, you're in a more of a balancing act as you're running. Work from there. As you're running, there's three things they're very important for running. We got to look at your posture. We want you to run in a nice controlled position and soft landing and soft running and not overstriding. So first, we need to work on your posture. If you run bent over, you're going to expend more energy. If we have you upright with your head up, your chest up, your pelvis in right position, you're actually going to run more efficiently. All right? We call that running economy. Your economy is less. You're going to save energy so you have more explosion. Running is definitely good for you. It has shown that it's great for cardiovascular conditioning, building up bone strength. The weight bearing is really good to help fight osteoporosis. One of the myths is that running is bad for your knees. Running isn't necessarily bad for your knees. If you look at the research, there's a lot of research that shows that running isn't bad for your knees. What's bad for your knees is if you have excessive weight. What's bad for your knees is if you make errors in your training and you don't make those modifications as you get older. It is very important that you are intermixing cross-training with your running. Running is a very repetitive type motion, so it's important to do things like yoga or weight training, and especially as you get older, you really need to spend time stretching. Because running is a very repetitive motion, we need to work on stretching. So let's start with our hip stretch first. So let's have you in a kneeling position here and put one foot out in front and let that front knee bend and let your body come forward. You want to stretch your hips out in the front and the side to help loosen up that hips. And we're going to hold it there for 30 seconds. You're going to do 10 on the left and 10 on the right. And switch legs. She's pretty good at that. One of the best tools you can use is a foam roll. All right? We're going to have you do the laying down on the foam roll to work on your posture. So first off, we'll place it on the floor. I want you to lay down there and slide up on the roll. And I want your hands up and then stretch. You should feel that pulling across your chest and bringing your shoulders upright. In this position, your body is stretching to keep a good upright posture position. And as that translates to running, you're going to be more efficient. It'll be good. Now as you lay there, you hold it a good minute and then bring your hands back down to your side. Our next muscle we need to address are the hamstrings. Your hamstrings are in the back of the thigh, and they're very important. As we get older, they get really tight. So let's start with a hamstring stretch. If you get on the floor, let's do the one with the one leg out. Yep. And then reach to your toes, hold it 30 seconds, and I want you to do 10 on each leg. Just keep holding it. Our final muscle we're going to stretch is our calf muscles. We're going to go to the wall, and we're going to do the classic runner stretch. Hands on the wall, leg behind you, knees straight, and lean into the wall. We'll get that stretch through here. Hold it 30 seconds. You do 10 on the left, 10 on the right. Stand up, sit down, fight, 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 right?
Yeah. If you don't have a wall to do it, is there, like you're out running, do you just...
Curb, anywhere.
Yeah.
Let's do this without the wall. So just stand there, face towards your mom. Yep, get that leg out a little bit further. Yeah, you can do that. And then get that back knee straight. There you go. Nice, huh? So research tells us if you are carrying excessive weight and you're trying to run to lose weight, you may be causing more impact into your knees. There are alternatives. For example, running in the water. There's no impact into the body. So that type of running is wonderful for you. And maybe if you are running for weight loss, you maybe run once a week and maybe a small amount, but then you cross-train and do other things. In running, injuries occur from what I call the terrible twos. And two, not T-O-W, but T-O-O. Too much distance, too many days in a row of running, too old of shoes, so too much tightness in your muscles. And those are the factors that can cause injury, not just straight running. So if someone comes to me and they want to start running, the first thing we need to do is check out their flexibility and their strength. Those are the two crucial factors that you need to have a good foundation before you start running. The second thing that we do when we design a program, we don't run every day, maybe 2 days a week to start with. And the third thing we do is do what's called a walk-run sequence. Maybe you run for 30 seconds, then you walk for a minute or minute and a half. And you slowly do that sequence to help increase your time, then you increase your running time, and then you can also decrease or change up that walk time. Before starting any running program, please talk to your healthcare provider. You need to get checked out physically, and visiting your healthcare provider should be an annual part of your life anyways, but even more important when you start a high-level exercise program like running, you want to be checked out. If you're a runner and as you're aging, there's two crucial elements you must address every single week. As we grow older, we lose range of motion, we get stiffer, so you must integrate a yoga or some type of stretching program into your running routine during the week. The second thing, strength training. You must build up your hip core strength, your hamstrings, your quadriceps, your glutes, your abs. All these muscles must get stronger. Unfortunately, as we grow older, we do lose muscle strength and mass, and we need to address that with a strength training program. Our number one injuries that we run across with young and older runners are the overuse injuries, things like stress fractures or stress injuries. Plantar fasciitis is very common, and a condition called shin splints is also extremely common. If you look at all three of those injuries, they are brought about by the terrible twos, doing too much distance, too fast, too little stretching. If you do have an injury, please check with your healthcare provider. There's some wonderful techniques that can be used, and we can teach you exercises to help get you better faster. Above all, people need to value rest. Rest is crucial. That's when we sleep, that's when our body heals. And so if we do too much training, we do need that rest time. Step 1, you check with your provider. Step 2, set your expectations. Understand if you've not been running before, start very low and slow. Plan on only running maybe 2 days a week. Integrate the walk-run technique, and don't forget to stretch and work on your strength training.
Great information. Our thanks to Chuck for helping provide important knowledge to keep us moving. A quick note to our audience tonight that each individual segment will be up on our YouTube channel for easy access to individual exercise segments. Our next segment is probably an exercise that most of you have not tried yet, but it's an activity that I really enjoy. While it may feel like something out of your comfort zone, maybe it's just the thing you need to keep moving. Aerial silks is a type of circus art that involves performing acrobatic tricks while suspended from fabric hanging from the ceiling. Using aerial silks for exercise helps improve strength, flexibility, and balance as it uses the body's own weight as resistance. Workouts can also help improve endurance and cardiovascular fitness through fluid motions and controlled breathing. Many people find aerial silks to be a fun and engaging form of exercise that adds an element of creativity to their fitness routine. The practice of aerial silks requires focus, coordination, and concentration to master complex sequences of poses and transitions. Regular practice of aerial silks can lead to increased body awareness, confidence, and a sense of accomplishment as participants progress in their skills and abilities. Prairie Doc joined me in the aerial silk studio to learn more about this type of exercise and the art behind it. Well, this is my favorite workout that doesn't feel like a workout until the next day. It's called aerial silks, and it combines artistry with exercise at the same time, and it is something that anybody can do. My daughter started doing this when she was about 5 years old and has been doing it for over 5 years now. So it's something that I came across and didn't really think of me as really a workout sort of person. So here it is, and it's something I absolutely love. And it's something you can do starting from little kids all the way to grown-ups. And anybody can do it, any body shape or size. And even if you are terrified of heights, you can still do it. So let's get started. So the fun part is climbing. And although I am generally terrified of heights, I have absolutely no problem getting way up here and then coming down again. That was not the smoothest. Yay! All right, well, let me show you a beginner sequence that anybody can do, and I'll let my instructor, Jocelyn Larson, show us some things that when you start, you don't start by climbing, you start by doing easy stuff on the ground. So most things start in a knot, and an easy straddle into a stag. And I love it because there's so much artistry and expression into this. And it definitely helps with flexibility, body awareness, motor skills. And it's just a fun way to work out. So you can express yourself in totally different ways. And here's my favorite move, dragonfly, which I think is absolutely gorgeous. There's a runner's pose. And then man on the moon, which is my daughter's favorite pose. And that would be something you could learn in your first class. It's really not that complicated. So, but it goes up from there. So I can definitely show you some of the more advanced stuff. And then the fun part is the drop. Come on, Splint.
Right there, pipe through the middle.
Huh?
Tails where they're
Tails
at.
are-
Yep, keep them, pipe
Yeah.
through the middle.
Like, anyway.
Nope,
No,
legs pipe through the middle.
Oh, that's
between
right.
two poles.
like I'm missing something.
Yes. There you
I
go.
haven't done this forever.
And grab your tails. Arms and teeth.
Signature.
Yes. Can you get to the front? Did you get a good angle on that one? Okay.
All right. And now for the grand finale, you get to see my instructor, Jocelyn Larson, do a double star drop, which is phenomenal and terrifying.
And super fun.
And super fun. And she makes it look way easier and more graceful than I can. So let's see it. So beautiful and so artistic, and so much exercise. So if you're looking for an amazing way to work out and have tons of fun,
Come
try
join
this.
Aerial Silks.
Well, my thanks to my instructor, Jocelyn Larson, for helping demonstrate some of the moves. There's such an art and graceful movement to all of the poses. Just a reminder to people that trying new types of activities is also great for your body and your brain. Our next segment moves away from individual exercises and focuses more on what types of movement you can do with friends or fellow workout partners. Group exercise can provide increased motivation and accountability, as participants are more likely to show up and push themselves harder when surrounded by others. Working out in a group setting can help individuals develop a sense of community and camaraderie with fellow participants, fostering social connections and support systems. Classes often incorporate a variety of exercises and equipment, allowing participants to challenge themselves in new ways and prevent workout boredom. When participating in group activities, it can provide a structured and consistent schedule, making it easier for individuals to stick to a regular fitness routine and see long-term progress. Prairie Doc spoke with Jacob Heidenreich at SDSU Wellness Center about the benefits of this type of fitness and how there is always a class and level for anyone to participate in.
With anyone that's going to a new place that they're unsure of if they're going to like it or not like it, just not be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask a question. These people that are providing these classes, they're helpers. They're at heart, they're the people that want to help others, and so they're there to do exactly that. And so asking them questions, seeing what they're providing is going to fit into your lifestyle.
Heidenreich stated workers and group fitness instructors always have a plan to accommodate those in class who may feel uneasy or are struggling with certain moves to adjust to moving at their own pace.
I think that is one of the cornerstones of group fitness, is our instructors being competent and prepared to offer modifications or even a progression, a harder version of their exercise that they're giving.
Again, you can do one or the other, but if you do one on this one, try to switch it up on the next circuit.
To make sure that everyone is having the best workout that they can have, whether that be giving you a more suitable option to you, just because based off of your limitations or your ability levels at that moment in time, being able to offer that so that you can still continue to work hard. Or if you come to a class and you're like, wow, I'm feeling really good today, and I think I could do a harder move or harder, move up, they can also be prepared to give you that as well. Water aerobics is always a great place to start because it's a low impact. And so if you're nervous about jumping back into group fitness, that can be a great place to start, is in the water.
He also added those who may be nervous about swimming or the water should not worry, as some exercises take place in the shallow end where even your head won't get wet. And when in the deep end, patrons wear a flotation device. No matter the exercise or the depth of water, it is easy on the joints.
Whatever is going to be enjoyable for you and fit into your life is what I think is the most important part. If you can stay consistent with it, you're going to reap the benefits of it. And whether it be any of those modalities, it's the one that suits you best. And if it's all of them, that's awesome.
Heidenreich also added that doing something to work out is always better than nothing, but it really depends on where you are in your fitness journey. There are also many benefits to group fitness compared to working out on your own.
The community aspect of it. Building bonds with the person sweating beside you can bring you friendship, it can bring you accountability, and then also alongside that is simplicity. When you're working out by yourself, you usually have to find someone knowledgeable or come up with the stuff on your own. If you're coming to one of our group fitness classes, you just need to show up.
Push your buns back. And we switch. Other foot forward, heel down, toes up, hands on the bent knee, buns back.
And there will be someone up in the front that's going to, bring energy, bring excitement, and bring a great plan to give you a workout that's you are going to be successful in.
It's also important when going to a group fitness class, especially as a newcomer or hopping back into working out, to keep an open mind, as exercise is always evolving and changing.
The scale doesn't always have to be the goal. Feeling better, I think, should always be the goal, and enjoying what you do.
Feet flat on the floor, we squeeze and relax.
Thanks, Jacob. So many options to choose from when looking to keep moving. For our viewers out there, make sure to check out your local activity center or even your local hospital or church for exercise groups that you can join. Our next segment is something that is valuable to our youngest individual and to our oldest. We're talking about strength training. Strength training is an important component of a well-rounded fitness routine at any age to improve overall health and quality of life. It has numerous benefits, including helping improve bone density, reducing the risk of osteoporosis and fractures as we age. Building muscle through strength training can boost metabolism, leading to easier weight management and lower risk of obesity. Regular strength training can improve joint health and flexibility, reducing the risk of arthritis and other joint-related conditions. Strengthening your muscles can also improve your balance and coordination, helping to prevent falls and injuries, especially in older adults. Training your muscles in this way can increase overall physical function, resilience, and making everyday tasks easier to perform as we age. There are more than just physical benefits as well. Engaging in regular strength training can improve mental health and cognitive function, reducing the risk of age-related cognitive decline. Prairie Doc spoke with Seth Daughters, an instructor at SDSU, about the benefits of strength training and how you can continue the activity as you age.
Resistance training is a mode of exercise that is really available to everybody. So when you think of physical activity, you can think of it in terms of aerobic and anaerobic type training. So aerobic being running, walking, swimming, biking, and then anaerobic is more of your short duration exercise in which resistance training falls into. It's using an external load, whether that be dumbbells, barbells, other implements or household items that you have, and essentially looking to improve muscle cross-sectional area as well as bone density, and allows your body to really withstand the rigors of activities of daily living.
Daughters explained there are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to weightlifting. Some of those misconceptions being that only young people lift weights and people only do weightlifting to bulk up.
That's simply not the case. You can start where you're at, and really the benefits you're looking to get is to develop your strength relative to your body weight, your muscle size currently, and then make progressions as you do that. And so improving muscle cross-sectional area, improving bone density is going to allow you to kind of dictate your function, and structure dictates function so that you can improve those other areas of your life. Activities of daily living are the biggest reason as we age that we want to continue to resistance train. And kind of like I mentioned before, structure dictating function is going to improve those activities of daily living.
Doing weightlifting or resistance training can improve the ability to do cardiovascular exercise along with heart health and function.
As we age, we lose muscle mass, and that's just a normal process with aging. As you get to age 30, every 10 years, you lose about 3 to 5% of your muscle mass. And so it's important to resistance train to maintain that as much as we can.
Daughters explained the American College of Sports Medicine recommends a goal of resistance training 2 to 3 times a week, which works every major muscle group in the body. For your workout, they recommend 2 to 3 sets of 8 to 12 repetitions of those muscle groups. Daughters also stated that's a goal, not where you need to or should start. Knowing where to start can also be tough.
The best places that you can look for your information are reputable, degreed professionals in the field. So if you're looking at strength and conditioning, it's somebody that's going to have some sort of degree in exercise science or a related field. Organizations such as the American College of Sports Medicine, which ACSM, if you're looking it up online, has great information on where to start, how to start, exercises to do. Best practice is to do some sort of pre-exercise questionnaire, health history, and the best option is to talk to your doctor prior to starting exercise. There are a variety of questionnaires, one being the PARQ, which is the Physical Activity Readiness Questionnaire, that will essentially demonstrate if there's any contraindications to exercise. But for the most part, a healthy average male or female can be doing the same things. You're going to base your exercises from the same exercises and modifications. Our heart rates are all the same, and as we age, that changes as well too. And so you can base your intensities off of your heart rate for exercise. And so men and women really should be doing resistance training, doing the same exercises, and then really partaking in the same progression programs for those resistance training goals. Injuries are a big part of everyday life. It's safe to say that resistance training, if you look at like all other sports, if you look at all other activities, the chance of injury during resistance training that's properly supervised, that is taken seriously and done with the right form and technique, the chance of injury is very, very, very low. So things we should look for really come in the form of like overtraining. And that's part of one of those misconceptions is we think we have to exercise every day at a high intensity to see any of the benefits. And really it comes down to the ebbs and flows of high intensity exercise with rest days. And so that's where the 2 to 3 days is a great goal, because you can set that up in a weekly plan where you exercise, you rest, you exercise, you rest. And so I think the modification should be based off if you are fatigued, you rest. If you have acute injuries, whether that's upper body or lower body, you make your modifications based off of what that injury is. I would say to somebody that's nervous about starting to start where you're at. You do not have to start from zero and then work out or exercise 7 days a week. The guidelines are there to be a first step or goal, meaning that you're going to start, maybe it's 1 day a week, and then you're working to the 2 to 3 days per week of resistance training. The main goal is to do something, and doing something is better than nothing. So one of the misconceptions that we talked about was the equipment that you sometimes need for resistance training, and it's often thought that you need expensive equipment, you need barbells and weight plates and racks that take up a lot of space. For a lot of general population, and as we age, those things are still a good item to use, and if you have a gym available, if you're working with somebody that has that available, it is still good to use, but you can get a lot done with very simple tools, whether you're doing that from home or you're doing it in really the ease of any location that you're trying to work out. And so some of those implements are dumbbells. They're very user-friendly. You can do a lot of different movements with those dumbbells. They're easily accessible. They're not too expensive. You can get them pretty much off of any equipment website. A couple other household items that you could use would be things like a backpack that you can fill up, and I know it seems trivial, but you can put a load that weighs as much as 25 to 30 pounds if you have books or other items, canned goods that you can fill your backpack with. You can wear it on your back and do lower body movements.
Dr. shows 5 different exercises that work all the major muscle groups one can do with dumbbells or any other household items which could take the place of a dumbbell. The first exercise is a squat. When doing this exercise, Dr. says to think of sitting in a chair, then standing up from the sitting position.
So the first exercise I'm going to show is a dumbbell or kettlebell. You could use this with all of those implements. It's going to be a kettlebell goblet or dumbbell goblet squat. And essentially we're holding it like we would hold a bowl in front of our chest, and we're wanting to keep this as close to the chest as possible. With this movement, we're going to squat. This will be a bilateral squat, so a normal squat as well. We're going to keep both feet pointed straight ahead or slightly outwards, and then we're going to sit back like we're sitting into a chair. Main things here, you're thinking about keeping your knees out, keeping your core braced, keeping your back nice and straight. And so a movement would look similar to this, where we're sitting all the way down and then standing all the way back up. Some modifications for this would be the load that you're using. So you can either dump the load and go to more of a body weight squat where you're not using any load, you're just using gravity, which is a great place to start, and you're going to get benefit from that. And then you can increase the load as well.
A question often asked is how deep a squat should be. According to Dotters, you should exercise with a wide range of motion, but to start where you are comfortable and slowly work for a deeper range of motion.
And as long as you're sitting back into your heels and you're sitting with a rigid and upright torso, then you can start working down through those ranges of motion and get deeper as you progress through that movement.
Another lower body movement is a single leg variation.
For these movements, you use a box height. Ultimately, that gets your leg to a 90 degrees. So I'm using a 12-inch box here. This would be a little bit short for me, but talking about start where you're at, start with a height that you're comfortable with. And so the main component here is you want your knee in line with your little toes, and you want a little bit of forward lean of your shin. And you're keeping your knee in line with those little toes so that it doesn't dive in, and you're keeping it so that it doesn't go outward. And then from here, you're keeping your torso up. You're going to lean all that weight forward to the front leg, and then you're going to drive up, stand tall. And then you would reverse that movement, go straight down, control, and then you could reset for the number of repetitions that you would want. You can load this up with a dumbbell as well. You can hold in the goblet position just like we would for a squat. That keeps it simple across movements. Lean that body weight forward, stand tall, step down.
The next movement is called a hip hinge, and this movement is tied to an RDL or Romanian deadlift.
We can do this with kettlebells and dumbbells alike. We can do this without any weight to get the movement down. Essentially what we're doing is we're trying to hinge, flex, and extend at the hip without any other movement of any other joint in the body. What this does is it helps train our glutes and our trunk. And so what we're trying to do is keep our feet shoulder width apart, pointed straight ahead, and then we're hinging right at the hip, keeping our back nice and flat. And so essentially we're only dipping forward from the flexion at the hip. Okay, depth here is going to be dependent on, again, your range of motion, typically within the hamstrings, and then you're coming all the way back up to reset that motion. So with a kettlebell and a dumbbell, you could use this the same way, but you're holding that implement out in front because you want it to pull you forward. You want to resist that movement pulling you forward. That's where the work of the muscle comes from, is from that weight being out in front of the body. Feet shoulder width apart. You're going to pull your shoulders directly backwards. You're going to brace your core, and then from here you're going to hinge and let that kettlebell or dumbbell go straight to the ground. You get to that bottom range of motion, and then you're squeezing the glutes and pulling through the hamstrings to get tall. A front view would be with the feet straight ahead, about shoulder width apart, hinging at the hip, and then standing tall.
Movement 3 focuses on pressing and pulling your upper body horizontally, and the exercises which can help with this are a push-up and a row.
Push-ups can be done in a variety of ways. You don't have to always do them from the floor to see the benefit in your upper body musculature from a push-up. And so you can use a wall, you could use a chair or a couch, you could use boxes if you have something available. But ultimately what you're trying to do is elevate your upper body from the ground to make that easier. And again, you would start where you can get those 8 to 12 repetitions, and then you would progress to either lower implements, lower boxes, maybe from the ground and the knees, and ultimately, if you can, a full push-up from the floor. So with a push-up, if you're using an implement that elevates you from the ground, so such as these boxes, you're going to want to get your hands at a width that lets your forearms be vertical to the ground. Meaning if you're too tight, your forearms are not vertical, and if you're too wide, your forearms are not vertical. So for me on this box, it's about the edge of the box. And when I go down, I'm thinking about keeping my core and my glutes braced so that I keep a straight line. I'm keeping my heels off the ground so I can move my body freely. I'm keeping my head and neck neutral. And I'm going all the way down through a full range of motion and then all the way back up.
The next exercise is a row.
We're going to pull something. We could use an implement, again, such as a dumbbell or a kettlebell or those household items, and we're going to do a row. And so with this, we're going to do a single arm row with a dumbbell. We just talked about the RDL, and we're going to tie in these movements, and these functional movements are going to help kind of progress through with learning one helps aid in another. And so with this row, we're actually going to get into the position that we just learned with the RDL, right? So we have a braced core, our glutes and hamstrings are working, and that is going to set us up for the position that we'll be in with this row. Okay, it's essentially the middle portion of your RDL. From here, we're going to let that dumbbell or the implement we're using hang. We're keeping our back in a nice flat position, and then our shoulder blade is going to pull through a full range of motion. We're going from the ground, pulling all the way up, pulling that shoulder blade back. We're going to control it on the way down, nice and slow, and then pull that shoulder blade back as we do those reps. Again, you're going to do 8 to 12 repetitions, and then you can adjust load based on how that load feels at that 8 to 12 repetitions.
The fourth movement is an overhead or vertical press and pull. These exercises help with the daily movements of daily living, such as grabbing something off the shelf or pulling yourself up from something.
The two motions I'm going to show here are an overhead press, so a standard military or dumbbell shoulder press, and then we're going to show a pull down with this movement pattern. For this, we're going to use 2 dumbbells, and again, you could use a variety of implements for this. You can do this with 2 arms or with just 1, and then alternate between the 2. But from here, what we're doing is we're setting, again, a good base, so feet about shoulder width apart. Dumbbells or the implement that you're using are going to sit right on the front of your delt, or right on the front of that shoulder muscle, and then from here, you're going to press straight overhead until you reach full extension, and then control on the way back down. And again, you would do this for your 8 to 12 repetitions, controlling through that full range of motion. Some of these overhead motions are hard if you have shoulder impingements or if you have shoulder injuries, which a lot of people do have shoulder injuries. So some of these may be better done in a neutral position and with one arm in which you're holding it very neutral to the body, meaning your elbow is not out and it's not going up from the outward position. You're keeping it neutral and in front of the body.
Another exercise within this movement is a pull down. Oftentimes, people think of pull downs like a pull up or chin up, but with this exercise, it is a pull down with a band.
So within movement number 4, we're talking about overhead pressing and pulling. And when you think of an overhead pull, a lot of people will think about like pull-ups, chin-ups, but not everybody can do a pull-up or chin-up or has access to a pull-up or chin-up bar. And so I'm going to show a variation today that's a good alternative to pull-ups, or if you have an injury limitation or you're looking to just start somewhere with a pulling mechanism from a vertical style. So I have a band set up here. It's set up on this rack right in the middle. Now you could use a door where you loop the band around the top of the door. Make sure that you close the door fully so that it is resting against that and it's within the frame so that you're not going to pull the band at you or you're not going to go through the frame of the door. And so you can do a variety of different pulls with this. The one I'm going to show is a half kneeling single arm pull where I'm going to kneel on the ground with the opposite knee that I'm pulling with is going to be up in front of me. And so I'm pulling with my right hand right now, which means my left knee is up and my foot is placed firmly on the floor. Again, I want to think about like bracing the core and having a nice flat back, so I'm keeping the torso up, I'm keeping my glutes underneath me, and then I'm going to reach up on the band to a height where again I can pull through a full range of motion. So that key is going through a full range of motion, and I'm going to pull straight down to the level of the shoulder and then control on the way back up. And the easy thing about bands is if that was too hard, I could just slide my hand up and down the band if it was too hard, or if it's too easy, I can make it harder, more challenging, and then I'm pulling through a full range of motion. And then I could do the other side.
The fifth and final movement focuses on the trunk and core.
Essentially, there's 2 different movements that we use every day. We rotate through our core and our trunk for movement, for walking, gait. If we're walking somewhere and turning around, we're rotating. But then with a lot of those movements, we're actually doing what's called an anti-rotation, or we need to be able to brace our core. Bracing our core is really going to tie in being able to keep form and technique for the squat, for the RDL, for the row, for all the movements that we perform with resistance training. Bracing of the core is really important.
When bracing your core, ensure your feet are hip-width apart, feet are straight ahead with a slight bend in the knee. Then think of pulling your belly button in as if you have a string attached from the back, and pull your belly button in as tight as you can, which helps brace your core.
So the exercise that I'm going to show for a rotation, we're actually going to use our milk jug here. So if you're using a household item for your resistance training, is we're going to show a rotational or a diagonal rotation. And so again, you want to give yourself a good base, feet about shoulder width apart, feet are straight ahead. You're going to have a little bit of bend in your knees. You're going to brace at your core, and then you're going to load from the outside hip, and then you're going to go up and across. And you're going to allow your torso to rotate without your lower body rotating and following suit. So you want to keep your lower body just like a squat, knees out, relatively neutral, and you're going to load and rotate. Load and rotate. And you would do that again for your 8 to 12 reps. You could also do this from the other side where you load the outside hip here, and then you rotate up and across. And you would do that again for 8 to 12 reps. For an anti-rotation, you can do a variety of different bracing exercises. So it'd be as easy as sitting in the same position that we just did the rotations with, and then holding an object out in front and just bracing the core. So your load is pulling you forward, you're trying to resist that movement. You could have a partner help you and try to move you side to side, up or down, and that would help you resist that movement.
Well, so many great exercises and movements in that segment. Reminder to our viewers that all of our segments will be up on our YouTube channel individually to watch after the show. Our final segment tonight is a form of movement that can be tailored to any level of comfort. Yoga is a gentle form of exercise that can be practiced at any age, from children to seniors. The beauty of yoga is that it can be modified to suit individual needs, making it accessible to everyone. By incorporating elements of balance, flexibility, strength, and mindfulness, yoga provides a well-rounded workout that benefits both the body and the mind. Whether you are a beginner or have been practicing for years, there are countless variations and poses to keep you challenged and engaged. The low-impact nature of yoga makes it safe and effective forms of exercise for older adults looking to improve their mobility and reduce their risk of injury. From gentle stretches to more advanced poses, yoga can help improve muscle tone, increase flexibility, and promote overall well-being at any stage of life. Prairie Doc spoke with a local yoga instructor, Mandy Lyons, about the benefits of yoga and how you incorporate it into your routine at any age.
I really found so much peace in yoga. I really became very deeply involved in yoga when my dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and I was going through kind of a depression, wasn't feeling well, and yoga gave me a purpose. Now just allow yourself to sink comfortably into your mat. Feet can be on the floor, knees up to the ceiling, or legs can be extended. Now, while you're here, maybe roll your head from side to side. Good, and kind of find that perfect spot in the very back of your head to come to rest. I became much more mindful and could appreciate life a lot more, and kind of really I credit to kind of helping me with my depression during that time. It is absolutely for everyone, absolutely. Yoga is just really being, the definition of yoga is to yoke. So you're yoking breath with movement. But truly, yoga is even just being seated. We do a lot of meditation for this class. And even I would consider meditation or yoga nidra, which is a form of meditation, also yoga. And we're gonna inhale through the left nostril. Now ring finger presses against the left nostril, exhale out the right nostril. Good, inhale right nostril. Exhale left nostril. Good, inhale arms all the way up.
Lyons ensures many yoga classes are for anyone in any age group, even though some different classes accommodate those various ages.
So for this series, we did a 4-part series, kind of going up through the first 4 chakras. So we start with a breathwork meditation, and then we start with a really long 10 to 15 minute guided yoga nidra, which is a guided meditation, and then we break into movement. The classes here have been, I would say, gentle-ish. The majority of the population would be just fine. We can always accommodate with a chair.
When you're ready, changing directions on your pelvic circles. Starting with the right foot, we are going to flex that foot as we lift that up, or point it, flexing as we bring it back down. You guys know.
Deep breath in.
Lyons says a class she loves and anyone can do is yin.
Yin is a wonderful class too. So in yin, they're more stretching poses. You hold poses for longer periods of time. So there's more focus on the breath and more meditation involved in those classes. A gentle class would be great to start with some movement and just do it in a slower paced way, which I think is lovely.
There are also many benefits to doing yoga.
I think flexibility is something that people will talk about so often with yoga, and you certainly don't need to be flexible to start yoga, but I think that becoming more flexible is one of the benefits to yoga, and both in body and in mind.
Along with flexibility and improvement in muscle, yoga can help better an individual's breath control.
So many great examples of ways to keep moving today. As always, before starting anything new, make sure to contact your primary care physician to ensure you stay healthy while getting healthy. We'll be back after this.
Overwhelmed with the amount of information available? Not sure which sites to trust? Head to the Prairie Doc YouTube channel today to access all previous On Call with the Prairie Doc episodes. And make sure to join us most Thursdays on SDPB or streaming on our Prairie Doc Facebook page.
Thank you to our instructors and health professionals today, Chuck McCullough, Jocelyn Larson, Jacob Heidenreich, Seth Daughters, and Mandy Lyons for volunteering their time to help us learn more about keeping moving. If you would like to see and hear more episodes of this program, please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, and TikTok, or visit us at prairiedoc.org. Look for Prairie Doc Perspectives in your local newspaper and online. Listen to us on Prairie Doc Radio on SDPB Sundays at 6 a.m. and 1 p.m. And be sure to look for the podcast of this program, Prairie Doc On Call, wherever podcasts can be found. From all of us here at On Call with the Prairie Doc, thanks for joining us for another episode of health information based on science, built on trust. Until next time, stay healthy out there, people.
Join us this week as we host one of our viewers' favorite shows, Ask Anything. The show focuses on all medical topics affecting those in our viewing audience. Ask Anything, next time On Call with the Prairie Doc.
My name is Carter Home, and I serve on the board of directors of the Healing Words Foundation, the nonprofit that runs Prairie Doc programming. Our mission is to enhance health and diminish suffering by communicating useful, science-based information respectfully and compassionately. Your donation supporting Prairie Doc programming makes an extraordinary difference. Gifts of any size enhance its impact in our state and beyond. Thank you for your generosity.
Major funding for On Call with the Prairie Doc has been provided by
At Avera, our nationally recognized health system will be right here with you, with care and coverage. Hello possibility. Hello healthy. Hello life. Avera, moving health forward.
Larson Manufacturing is proud to support On Call with the Prairie Doc as it continues to open doors for important medical information. And with the ongoing support of these individuals and institutions, Brookings Health System, South Dakota Academy of Family Physicians, Ophthalmology Limited, Avera Medical Group Brookings, Avera Heart Hospital, First Bank and Trust, Dakota Allergy and Asthma, Monument Health,